What's up, my awesome YouTubers? Rhine1988 or Justin back here to do a video for you guys, and happy Saturday to you all, and once again, happy October. Fall breezy weather here today in Kentucky, and nice and sunny, so it's a fantastic month for fall weather. But this video, I'm going over two things. The first half is going to be a brief 4K review of a movie I picked up last month, but I finally watched it last night. It's very fitting to watch in October, and it's one of my favorite October, Halloween traditional watches. And I recommend picking up the 4K when I go over it. Fantastic edition of the movie. And then the second half of the video, I'm going to kind of go over a similar topic and talk about a subgenre within the horror movie genre that doesn't seem to get enough talk. People talk about some of these movies, but as a subgenre, it's kind of underrated compared to some other subgenres. So I will go over that in the second half. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is a 4K release. I highly recommend picking up, guys, if you have a 4K player and if you want an excellent 4K edition as far as transfers go and sound goes. And that is Hocus Pocus. So this is one I watch every October. Absolutely love the movie. And I have a lot of memories with this. This was a film that I remember seeing as a kid in theaters in '93, which is almost 30 years ago. Crazy to think that. But it's also the last drive-in experience I had going to the movies, was seeing Hocus Pocus. Even though I don't fully remember it, I do remember seeing my last drive-in experience, and that was at a local drive-in that I had in the town I lived in, which is no longer there. But Hocus Pocus for me, absolutely a favorite movie of mine. I love it. Again, watch it every year, and can't believe it's almost 30 years old. The 4K itself is fantastic, guys. I was not sure if I was going to pick this movie up because I had bought another release of the movie, which is this one, which was almost, I think I got it either last year or 2 years ago. Love the steelbook, by the way. Fantastic. But I wasn't sure if I was going to get the 4K. I've talked about it in the past. When it comes to upgrading 4K movies, I like to hear what people have to say about it. I like to, hear if the transfers are great or fantastic. And I was hearing a lot of really positive things about the 4K transfer of this movie. And I have to say, I thought the Blu-ray looked great. I think the 4K is even better. So if you have a 4K player, if you're wanting to upgrade favorite movies, this is one to pick up, guys. Now, I don't know if the Steelbook is available anymore. This is from Best Buy. But you can get the standard 4K, and I think if you go online, you can get it for like $22.99 on Best Buy's website, maybe other websites. You can go on eBay and see if you can get it cheaper. But Hocus Pocus is definitely a purchase worthy as far as the 4K goes. Again, it looks better than the Blu-ray. I always felt like the Blu-ray, even though it looked good, that they kind of put like a kind of a filter over it to where it looked a lot brighter than I remember the movie being. I remember, seeing it on VHS or even seeing it on DVD, and there was there was color there, but it was a lot more natural. And so with Hocus Pocus, I feel like it went back to that. When the colors are there, they're perfect. They actually they're not like overly bright, but they stand out. The darks are nice. The colors are nice. I was just really blown away with this because, again, sometimes you think older movies, are they worth upgrading on 4K? And if you do your research and you hear what people have to say, that could, put you in the kind of right direction to pick it up, or it can convince you to pick it up. Hocus Pocus has always been a favorite movie of mine. And I think this is definitely a purchase-worthy 4K. I love, again, the colors. They're used well. You know, you get a lot of the fall feel with the leaves and the oranges and the reds. Absolutely love it. And again, the darks, when they're there and you got a lot of nighttime shots, they look great. It all looks natural, guys. It just feels really good when I'm watching this movie. I feel fall when I am watching the film. You can tell a difference right away with the opening credits that this is definitely a step up from the Blu-ray. And I love that when you can watch a movie and right away tell a difference. And I can tell a difference with this. Again, I've always thought the Blu-ray was great. I think this is definitely a better transfer of the film though. So again, if you're looking to upgrade movies on 4K, Hocus Pocus is one if you are a fan of it. And again, you know, go on eBay. Maybe you could find it cheaper. If you don't find the Steelbook, pick up the standard release of it. Either one is fine, guys. This is a fantastic release, and I'm glad I pre-ordered it. I almost actually went with the standard release, but I decided to just go with the Steelbook. And I love having 2 editions of Hocus Pocus, guys. One of my favorite, again, October watches, one of my favorite childhood films, and I'm always going to have memories with that. So again, pick up the 4K, guys. It's definitely worth getting and adding in your collection. Sound quality sounded really good too, so that was a plus. But I think the thing that really stands out the most with that 4K is the picture quality. Again, colors are great, blacks are great. It looks fantastic, guys. So now going on to the second half of this video, and it's dealing with witches. And, you know, I talked about Hocus Pocus, one of my favorite witch films out there. But in the horror movie genre, there's definitely a subgenre there for witch films. Witches, you know. And I always feel like witches, as far as like a subgenre goes in horror movies, is kind of underrated. You know, we talk about werewolf films and vampire films and zombie films and other different subgenres, but it's rare when I hear people go over witches and movies that they have involving witches. I don't have the movie Witches from the 80s with Angelica Houston. Honestly, that movie traumatized me as a kid. Thanks to my older sister, partially because of it. She liked to watch that movie, and when she didn't want me in a room or a living room, you know, at 4 or 5 years old, she would always put that movie on, and I think like 6 years old, and try to traumatize me. But I'm not a fan of witches. I don't think I can ever own that movie because, again, it definitely traumatizes me. But as far as horror movies go, I love the witch genre. And again, I think it's an underrated subgenre within the horror movie genre. So I'm going to go over the ones I own and talk about them. And if you have never seen any of these, check them out. I think a lot of them, besides one, are, you know, easy to find and easy to pick up. And the one I do talk about that is kind of hard to find. If you can find it anywhere, that's awesome. But if you can stream it, maybe, I definitely recommend checking it out. Not the best of the witch genre or subgenre, but still, you know, pretty fun and entertaining. And then, you know, the first 3 movies I'm going to talk about, I think the first 4 movies I'm going to talk about are kind of all within the same universe. And that is the Three Mothers Trilogy and the Suspiria remake. So before I get to the remake, let's talk about Dario Argento's Three Mothers Trilogy. Now, Suspiria is definitely top 10 or top 15 favorite horror movies of all time for me. I love Suspiria. This is the original, I believe, 1977 movie that has Jessica Harper in it. You got the Goblin, fantastic soundtrack. Suspiria is just such a fantastic film in my opinion. I've loved it ever since I first saw it. It still has that eerie feeling, eerie vibe that still works for the movie today. 10 or 12 years later, I'm still loving this movie. And yeah, fantastic. You know, 4K looks amazing. Even this edition, which, You can get the single, you can get the standard edition of this. This is just the Blu-ray with the 4K transfer of it. So this is a restoration. This is a transfer. But either way, guys, Suspiria, I love... A lot of things I love about the movie. I've mentioned some of them. Goblin score, the way Dario Argento directs things, and then the setting is amazing. The colors are amazing. I love like good settings, good colors in movie. This has a lot of blues, greens, reds. He uses that as part. Dario Argento uses that with a lot of his direction in this movie. And I think it's fantastic. It makes the movie even more eerie, as well as the score by Goblin. And I absolutely love Suspiria. Now going on to the second film is Inferno. And I think I talked about this one recently, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But this is the second film. And again, his direction is great in this. I believe somebody else did the score and the soundtrack for this movie. So it's not as good as, you know, the Goblin's music, but again, great colors. He uses a lot of colors. I love the setting. I like this one takes place in New York. You know, a great continuation of the Three Mothers films. Inferno is definitely one to check out. I feel like that's always an underrated Dario Argento movie. And then you have his last film in the Three Mothers trilogy, which was Mother of Tears, which, as you see, I got from a buddy of mine gave this to me, but it had like some stickers on it. Maybe that's a little nostalgia. I think it came from an old video store. But Mothers of Tears, not the best of Argento's work. In fact, probably one of my least favorites. But if you are going to watch the movie, the unrated cut's the way to go. It's the best version of it. I don't know how easy this is to find, so maybe stream the movie if you can. But give Mothers of Tears a watch. If you're, you know, gonna watch, you know, the Three Mothers trilogy, end it with that one. Definitely not the best of the trilogy, definitely the weakest, but certainly not a terrible film, in my opinion. And then you have the remake of Suspiria by Luca Guadagnino, if I'm saying his name right. But I love the Suspiria remake. I've loved it since I saw it in theaters. It's definitely a different take on Suspiria. It's not a shot-by-shot remake. It has a different vibe, different score. It takes the idea of Suspiria and does its own thing, which I fully appreciate that. I love that. And I love when remakes do that. You know, they can take the material but do their own thing. And I think this is fantastic. I think it's actually pretty underrated for a remake. So if you've never seen Suspiria, check that one out, guys. It won't be for everybody, but definitely give it a watch. I love that movie. What I actually just watched for the first time in a long time, 5 years maybe. I saw it when it first came out on Blu-ray, and that is The Witch. I believe the director, I don't want to butcher his name, so I'm going to just leave it at just talking about The Witch. Edgar something. I don't want to say his last name wrong. But The Witch, guys, it's a slow burner. Not everybody likes this movie. Not a lot. There's not a lot that happens in this movie, but I think, again, atmosphere and setting is very eerie. You get a fall dread feel about it. You have an overall really nice, solid cast. I think it's Anya Taylor-Joy. Maybe I'm saying her name wrong. She's our lead in this. She was recently in New Mutants and the kind of Split and Glass films. But she's excellent in this movie. And it's a very just simple film. Again, not a lot happens in this, but when eerie things happen, when there are certain moments in the film that are creepy, they're actually creepy. It's unsettling to watch sometimes. But I do love The Witch. I loved it when I first saw it. I still love it now. I've only seen it a couple times, but, you know, for a second watch 5 years later, the fact that I still love the movie is awesome. You know, I think this is always going to be a film I love. I definitely appreciate a lot about it. And if you've never seen The Witch, check it out. Give it a watch. Same director who did this did the recent Lighthouse movies. So if you've seen that, but you haven't seen The Witch yet, check that one out. And it's one of my favorite, I believe, A24 films. You know, I like A24. I'm kind of hit and miss with their movies, but I do love The Witch. It's definitely one of my favorites. Talked about this one in my last video, so I'm not going to talk about it too long, but Lords of Salem, another fantastic, in my opinion, fantastic witch-based movie. You got a great overall cast. Again, setting is important for me. I love a great setting in a movie, and that definitely has it. One of my personal favorite Rob Zombie films. Watch this one again after a long time not seeing it. I think I tried watching it 2 years ago, and I got busy with things in life, so I could not finish the movie. I grew up with this film. I know they're doing a sequel or reboot, whatever you want to call it, which it does not look good. I love the original movie or first movie. I don't know if you want to call the new one a remake. I'm calling it a remake, but some people are calling it a sequel. But that's The Craft. You know, everybody knows The Craft. If you've never seen the original Craft, and say you're interested in seeing the newer movie, but you haven't seen the original yet, check this out. I love The Craft. I grew up with it, saw it back when it came out on VHS to rent. I remember living in Oregon, and there was a small mom and pop video store, and I would walk there. Where I lived, the town was very close, so I would just walk to the video store and rent movies on a weekend. And The Craft was one of them. And I have a lot of memories growing up with this. I love The Craft. You got a great cast in this movie, and just an overall great movie. So, love the music, love that 90s feel. You know, fantastic. Next one I'm going to talk about, and these next movies are not like full witch movies, but the idea's there. So if you don't see a witch in a movie, you might know that you know they're witches, or it's based around kind of an atmosphere involving witches. This one right here is Rosemary's Baby, which I think a lot of people have seen this, but if you haven't seen it, check it out, guys. I love this movie. I think it's eerie. I think it's creepy still today. I think this came out in 1969 or 1968. It still holds up really well. Fantastic cast again, and very eerie atmosphere. The music in the beginning credits is also very eerie music. It's very sweet, but it's kind of eerie. You know, I love that movie. So check out Rosemary's Baby if you've never seen it. The next two are, again, these are films just kind of based around the idea of witches. So you might shake your head a little bit at this, but just, you know, hear what I have to say. The Blair Witch Project. Yes, I'm putting it in this subgenre. You know, you don't see a witch in this movie, but the idea about the movie are these CERN woods that's based around a witch. And these crew members, or these, you know, I don't know if you'd call them fans, but these, you know, documentary young adults going out in the woods trying to figure out if this witch, I believe her name is Mary the Witch, is true. Is there a witch out there? Is there this supernatural being in the woods? And that's what these three young documentary people want to go and look for. So, I don't know if they're, you want to call them like, I don't know, they're not filmmakers. They're just eager people wanting to see if this witch is true. And possibly being able to see her. Again, not really, you know, like full on a witch movie. You don't see a witch in this movie. But it's the idea around it that is based on a witch. So, The Blair Witch Project, definitely top 10 for me, maybe even top 5 favorite horror movies. I love that. And then you got its underrated sequel, which I didn't love it the first time I saw it, but I've grown to love this movie quite a bit, and that is Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Again, you don't really see the witch in this movie, but it's based around the idea of this witch, of this woman who lived in these woods and who supposedly is haunting the woods. This one, you do get a lot more nightmare imagery in it. It doesn't make complete sense. You know, this movie had kind of a rough history as far as, the movie goes. And before the movie was released, they, reshot a lot of it. So it's not a perfect movie, but I love the film still. I love the idea of, you know, fans of the first Blair Witch involved in this movie. It's all about the fan base of the first Blair Witch Project film. And I love Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Again, it's not a perfect movie, and I know there's an original director's cut out there somewhere. I would hope that somebody would release both versions on Blu-ray. It's definitely much needed, guys. Great soundtrack, I'll just point that out. I do love the soundtrack. And I love the atmosphere. Again, another great film with another great atmosphere. And then the last three films, again, not full witch movies, but based around kind of the idea of witches. In this case, more like a warlock. But I love the movies. Two of them I really love. The other one I just love because it's a goofy, fun time. But you got Witchboard. So I'm going to throw this in here because, again, if you're going to throw it in a subgenre, you could do supernatural subgenre or the witch subgenre. Again, not a full-on witch movie, but the idea is there. The surrounding idea is there. The Ouija board is there. And I love Witchboard. It still kind of creeps me out today. And again, great eerie, you know, atmosphere and music, haunting imagery, nightmares in the movie. I love Witchboard. Then you got Witchboard 2, which might not be as good as the first movie, but I still love the movie, and I grew up with this one as well. Again, my old mom and pop video store in Oregon had these movies, and I would rent them on VHS over and over and over again. So Witchboard 2, The Devil's Doorway. Great movie there. And this one is great in my opinion. It's super cheesy, guys, like really, really cheesy, but it's a fun time. And that is Witch Trap, which is not related to the Witchboard movies, but it is directed by the same director, Kevin S. Tenney. I love Witch Trap. It's goofy as all be. There's some really bad dubbing there. You know, there's history about the dubbing, so if you actually watch the director's interview, he talks about that. But I rented this again on VHS at that same video store, and I had so much fun with it as a kid. It actually creeped me out as a kid. Now watching it, it's just a fun time. But Witch Trap, again, based around kind of a villain-like ghost who was into black magic. So he was kind of like a warlock character. So, but yeah, Witch Trap, guys. Again, some of those movies aren't full-on witch films. You don't really see a witch in those movies. But if you're going to put them in a subgenre, either the supernatural subgenre or the witch subgenre. But that is going to be my video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy Saturday to you all. I hope you have a wonderful day. Watch some great October movies. I'm still in the process of watching some myself. But have a great rest of the weekend, guys. Let me know your guys' favorite witch movies. There is one I'm going to get, Black Sunday, which I believe Barbara Steele's in that movie. And so I want to see that. Let me know about any other witch movies out there, guys, because these are just some I have. And I know there's some others out there. So if you guys have some that you can recommend, leave comments down below. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, the witch subgenre in the horror movie genre doesn't get a lot of talk, and so I thought this would be a great video to make. And if you're a Hocus Pocus fan, pick up the 4K if you have a 4K, because a 4K TV and 4K player, because that's one of the best 4Ks out there. And again, when you're upgrading, just kind of look out for deals. That's what I do, or look out for reviews. I go based around reviews or favorite movies of mine if I can get really good deals on them. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope, again, you have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon. So as always, you guys are awesome. You guys rock. In with the positive, out with the negative. Go eat some Skittles, and much love to you guys. All right, bye.